And it wasn't until, again, reflecting on certain scenarios that I realized that those were ways of me showing self-love to myself. I've been in toxic relationships in the past, whether that be friendships and relationships, and they weren't serving me at all. And it's not till I looked back and was like, do you know what? Cutting those people off was the best thing I could do for myself. Like, I feel free, I feel happy, I feel at peace. And that is a way of showing self-love. Hello. Welcome back to my channel. It is Taj, aka MahTaj Massage, and this is MahTaj Midas Living. Following on from last week's video, this one is going to delve into some of the things that I do to practice self-love. But before we get into that, if we vibe, join the tribe and make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you. This video today is basically to put into practice the things that I explained in my previous video regarding self-love. These are some of the things that I've been doing for years with some of them. Others I've only put into my daily routine probably within the last few months or so, I'd say. But I've definitely noticed the difference in doing these. So I just wanted to share some of these with you. If you have any that you do that I've not mentioned in the video, let me know in the comments, because I'm always here for learning, and hopefully you can also learn from me too. One of the things I've done over the past few years is change my diet. And it's not until I started thinking about it before doing this video is when I realized that that was a form of self-love without me even realizing. So back in, when was it? 2018, I decided to go pescatarian. So I'd done some research into the whole plant-based diet and all of that stuff. I've always been a meat eater, but in my family we still ate quite a varied diet. We didn't eat meat every day. Like, there'd be times where we'd have vegetarian meals, vegan meals, then there'd be dishes with meat, dishes with fish, etc., which is kind of pretty much what you'd expect in a Caribbean household anyways, because many of our dishes vary from one spectrum to the other anyways. But I kind of noticed that I wasn't really eating that much meat, and when I was eating meat, it was chicken. I wasn't really eating red meat. It just kind of got to a point where I just wasn't eating it. So I thought to myself, oh, do you know what, this alongside all the research I've been doing, why not cut out meat, become pescatarian, and just see what happens. Didn't put any pressure on myself or anything, kind of just went with the flow. And then now in 2021, well actually no, the start of 2020, I decided to go vegetarian. So there's been the odd day where I've had fish because I didn't really put too much pressure on myself. So when it was special occasions, either someone's birthday gathering or at Christmas, I ate fish on those occasions. But overall, I have changed my diet and I have noticed the improvement in myself. I don't feel as lethargic, I feel more energized, and I just feel healthier overall. So that was more of an unconscious choice to show myself self-love, but it ended up being something to show myself that as well. Something else I have done throughout my life to show myself self-love unconsciously is getting rid of toxic people from my life, or stepping away from certain friendships and relationships for the greater good of myself. And it wasn't until, again, reflecting on certain scenarios that I realized that those are ways of me showing self-love to myself. I've been in toxic relationships in the past, whether that be friendships and relationships, and they weren't serving me at all. And it's not till I looked back and was like, do you know what? Cutting those people off was the best thing I could do for myself. Like, I feel free, I feel happy, I feel at peace. And that is a way of showing self-love. One of my favorite ways to show self-love is to have a little pamper day at home. It doesn't have to be anything major. I might decide to have a bubble bath, do a face mask, maybe soak my feet, those kind of things, and just chill, relax, maybe even turn my phone off. Sometimes I do that as a form of self-love as well, and just enjoy being in the moment. I might play some healing frequencies, do a meditation. Those are other things that I do to take care of myself and find my inner peace and show myself that love. Other things I do to show appreciation and love for myself is treating myself to little things, especially when you've worked hard or you've achieved something. It's a nice thing to reward yourself. It doesn't have to be anything expensive or extravagant. You could treat yourself to a takeaway. You could buy yourself something that you've been kind of keeping an eye out for, but you haven't bought it because you kind of think to yourself, why am I buying that? I don't need it. But then when you have that reason to reward yourself, it kind of gives you that justification for making that extra little purchase. Obviously that's not for everyone, but sometimes I do that. There might be something that's been in my Amazon basket for months and months and months, and I'm like, I'm not going to buy that until I have the money or until I have a reason to buy it. And then I'll reach a goal or something in my life, and I'm like, do you know what, Taj? I'm going to buy that thing that's in my Amazon basket. Like, you've worked hard, you deserve it. Holidays for me personally are a massive thing. I think going on holiday and traveling is so important, and that is one thing since I started working, that is one thing that I always treat myself to. I go on holiday every single year without fail, even if it's just in Europe somewhere, even if it's just a weekend away. Going on holiday is one thing that I do to show myself love, because traveling is an experience that you have to physically involve yourself in. There's nothing you can do. There's like, you can't learn about other countries from a book. Yeah, you can learn stuff, but it's not the same as being there. And one thing I take an interest in is learning about other cultures, seeing other countries, and just being away from home, meeting new people, having new experiences. And that is definitely something I do to show myself self-love. And last year in 2020, not traveling, that's the first time I've not left England since, I don't even know, maybe like 2006, 2007, maybe around that time. I think since then, yeah, I had traveled every single year except for 2020. But I still was able to show myself that self-love by going away and getting out of London for a weekend. So I still had a holiday. So I had just had a staycation instead. And honestly, my mind, body, and spirit thanked me for it, because again, it was a way of showing self-love. Something else I've also done in the past as a way of loving myself is taking myself out on a dinner date. Now, for some people, that might make your anxiety go through the roof. The thought of sitting in a restaurant by yourself. Obviously, we can't do that right now, but it's still an idea of something that you can do. You could do it at home. You could cook yourself a nice meal, light some candles, like really go all out. It might seem stupid, like thinking about it, especially if you've never done it before, but honestly, it is such a nice thing. Sitting down, having a nice meal, glass of wine if you drink, light some candles, and just sit down and enjoy your meal and thank yourself for the things you've done, even if it's just thanking yourself for cooking the meal, thanking yourself for ordering the meal, or thanking yourself for taking the time out to just have some you time. You will thank yourself, honestly. There are two things that I have recently started bringing into my life to show self-love. And the first thing is doing mirror affirmations and literally telling myself, I love you. And it feels weird when you first do it. You honestly feel like an idiot. You feel like a dickhead. The first time I did it, I felt so dumb. But I stuck to it because I was like, do you know what? No, that's just my ego. I'm like, shut up, ego. No, I'm going to do this. This is good for me. It's like talking to your inner child. And you literally look yourself right in the eye, in the mirror, say your name, and then say, I love you. So I would look in the mirror and be like, Taja, I love you. I really, really love you. And the first time you say it, you either start laughing or you're just like, oh, you're such a dickhead, like, what are you doing? But then you keep at it and you keep doing it. And I've been doing it probably for a month now. I've been doing it about a month and a half, give or take. And when you persist, it starts to feel so good. I promise you, it starts to feel so good. Like now I'm at a stage where I just walk past myself in the mirror. I'll just be doing something random in my flat or whatever, wherever I am. And I'll catch sight of myself in the mirror. And in my head, I'll just be like, I love you. And it makes you feel so happy. If it doesn't resonate and it makes you feel stupid or uncomfortable or embarrassed, keep doing it still. Keep doing it, because I guarantee you will start to feel the benefits, because your brain doesn't even notice the difference between you saying something nice about yourself in the mirror compared to someone saying it to you. To your brain, it's the exact same thing. So like I always said, happiness, love, all of that is an inside job. It all starts from within and then it radiates on the outside, and then you start reflecting it back and forth from others. The other thing that I've started doing recently to show self-love, and it's more on a physical level, this one is showing love for my body. And I started doing this maybe, like, I don't do it all the time because I don't always remember, but when I do remember, I really take the time to do this, and that is to talk about how much I love my body while I am moisturizing my skin. And honestly, it makes you feel good. If you can do it in a mirror, even better. So after you've showered, had your bath or whatever, when you're moisturizing yourself, when you're doing your feet, for example, as you're moisturizing them, you look at them and say, I love my feet because they carry the weight of my body when I'm walking around. And then you get onto your lower leg and you start saying, I love my lower legs because they are strong or they are defined or whatever it may be. And you keep going through the different parts of your body, and you find something you can say, whether it is a physical attribute or a mental attribute or even a spiritual attribute. So for example, when I talk about my stomach, I talk about the chakras and those kind of things, and the sacred space of my womb and all of that stuff. And honestly, it makes you feel so good about yourself. It might make you feel a bit dumb the first couple of times you do it, but again, stick at it, and I promise you, you will start to feel so good about yourself. You honestly start looking at yourself differently, and you start to feel more physically attractive. Even though you look the same, you see yourself in a different light, and it's like your skin starts glowing. I'm not even exaggerating. Like when I look at myself now, even though I had self-love before, when I look at myself in the mirror now, and it's only been a month or so of me doing these two new things in my life, I feel and look different, honestly. Like when I look at my skin, I swear my skin started clearing up as well. And I've not changed my skin routine. Like I don't even have a proper skincare routine. I'm really lazy like that. But honestly, my skin has got better, and I'm not even exaggerating. So yeah, practicing self-love is a really, really good thing for yourself, mind, body, and spirit. And it's something that I would recommend to everyone. I think this should be taught in primary schools. Like that's how important I think this is, and I believe this is. And that's also another thing. If you have children, this is something that you can do with them, and you can ingrain this into them. And if they're that young and you imprint these practices on them from now, your children will be unstoppable. No one can stop them or pull them down. Society won't be able to like make them doubt themselves and all those kind of things, because they will be so strong in their mindset and level of self-love. No one can bring them down. The final thing I wanted to talk about in what you can do as a way of practicing self-love is following your heart. And this can be a number of different things. This could be quitting the job that you hate. It could be changing careers. It could be changing your diet. It could be speaking out about some sort of injustice, or whatever it may be. Following your heart and standing in your truth is a massive way of showing self-love, because it is you standing in your truth and standing in your soul's purpose for what you believe to be right. And this is something that I've started to do a lot more over the last year, and it is a scary thing, but it is also a powerful thing. And once you push through the fear of doing it anyways, you will honestly thank yourself so much. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've learned something new. Let me know if you put any of these things into practice, or let me also know any of the things that you do to practice self-love, because I'm always here to learn as well. But thank you for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Take care of yourselves.